And welcome back, everyone, just after lunch. I promise you to not make you sleep uh, after a heavy lunch, but how many of you are familiar with AI or using AI today? A lot of hands, of course, and more as consumers, more as folks building products, we need to have insights about how these AI models are working, right? Because today, most of us are deploying AI applications on, be it different kinds of infrastructures, Kubernetes, serverless, on-prem, microservices, whatnot. But ultimately, we want to understand how it works. So I'm Jones. I'm one of the DevRel engineers at New Relic, one of the AWS serverless heroes as well. I focus on, like Clifford gave me a good introduction, so I'll not redo it. And I'll be talking today about how do you monitor your AI applications. Today, we'll focus primarily on the AI stack that is there, what challenges AI brings in, be it with the AI or API-based applications, and how, as a serverless API which uses Amazon Bedrock model, how we can monitor it using New Relic. In the last 3 years, AI space has evolved a lot. Like, at a time when ChatGPT went viral, we did look at things like going into chatgpt.com, trying out few prompts. We do it even today, get some response right from there, to even things in terms of generating AI content. When I say content, it could be videos, heavy multimedia content that we can generate right with AI. When it started, we all thought, like, as engineers, even I was in the same bucket, I was thinking, will I become a prompt engineer? But today it's more about, we're not just prompt engineers, we are about evaluating how the models work, understanding the right fit for your workloads, understanding which models work best. Like, if I asked any of you, which model do you use? Everyone has a different answer, because you know those models work best for the prompts that you work with, you ask with. That's what has come in. And 2025 has been the year where we bring in insights. It's not just about usage. It's not just about, hey, I'm using XYZ model, but it's about bringing in the insights. And how do you do it? It's with observability, because you gain insights with a tool like Observability at New Relic. So today we use AI in a lot of verticals, where it could be things in terms of enriching your experience with customer experience, to development, to content generation, and a lot of aspects. How many of you today use AI in terms of your personal or for work? You answered it right as well, because for most of the mundane tasks, we offload it to AI, or even polishing a few things. So say, for example, you want to polish your PR that you raise, you can ask AI, right? Like, I like documented PRs, but I am not a big fan of writing a huge PR. So AI does the job for it. So today, AI has become more about, it's been engraved into most of our processes. When I say processes, both work and personal. So today, when we look at it at a microscopic level, it's different patterns with AI that is there. Be it as simple as request response. You're requesting something, AI is giving you a response. Or it could be agent-to-agent workflows that you have. You're doing a lot of orchestrations, and maybe even things as using MCP tools. So evolution has happened with AI as well in the last few years as we speak. But what is the basic pattern that's there? It's still a request that's going into an LLM, and you're getting a response. Basically, an API. So today, when I talk about observability and why is it needed, some of the aspects that you think about in context of AI is the security considerations. Because most of us, be it for work when we're using it, it has to be compliant for either government compliances that are enforced on us, the organizational needs, that you have, or even in fact you're telling that, yeah, I want to follow the best practices. I want to ensure that I'm not sending any PII information to my LLM model, because who knows what the LLM model is getting trained on, right? So you need to be careful about masking certain things, dropping few things, having certain guardrails set. And how do you identify if your guardrails are working or not? Or what are the guardrails that you have to set? It is with observability. So even for your security, for your LLM and having guardrails for your LLM models, you need observability. So with AI and APIs and the different stacks that we have, there are challenges. But when we talk about AI, there's new set of challenges, because you're not just looking at, hey, what is my response time? Or how long is my server running? Or what are the number of cold starts that I'm having? Or even in terms of telling how fast am I getting a response, right? It's not just that. With AI, we have new set of telemetry points. We do have more data points that we have to look at, be it some things like token usage, even in terms of telling in, is the response right or wrong? A feedback loop for your AI responses, evaluating your responses itself, setting new guardrails. All of them are the new challenges that AI brings in. And how does AI observability or AI monitoring help? Is because there is different levels. I think I'm covering the, but in case you wonder how is it at different levels that AI models work, is with, you have a component level. You have a API that's being invoked either in your backend service whenever the user presses a button or sets a prompt or whatnot, at the component level where it's invoking the API. The second is about having different kinds of workflows, be it in terms of LLMs invoking LLMs, AI models being in the loop, or even agent-to-agent flow, right? All of them need traces available. So it's another layer of observability that you have to look into. You get a response. How good is the response is also very crucial, because most of the time, what AI-generated things are not 100% clear. Like, who of us have been using AI and are happy with the very first answer we get, right? Like, it is there, but not 100%. So with observability, we also need to bring in the feedback that it requires. Not just that, also enabling a lot of us with getting in the right context, be it with different things like a RAG pipelines, or ensuring the number of times that you have got a hallucinated answer. Metrics for these things is also very crucial. So when I talk about AI monitoring, it comes in these 4 different layers, talking about right from where the invocation is happening to until having certain metrics, certain traces, all of them enabled so that you have a complete visibility of what's really happening. Any of you have used Amazon Bedrock? That's a loud answer, thank you. For those of you who don't know what Amazon Bedrock is, Amazon Bedrock is an AWS service that facilitates you with a lot of foundational models and helps you build your own RAG pipelines, enabling guardrails, whatnot, and also giving you the facility to invoke AI models as APIs. So today I'll be talking about one such serverless application where we are using Pulumi and having a Lambda function that's being deployed using function URL and has Amazon Bedrock model behind the scene. So in case you want to try it out outside of here, there's a Git repository with the complete instructions that you can clone it, fork it, try it out yourself. So you can use the QR code that is there. Cool. So once you deploy it, you get a API endpoint with Lambda function URL. What does it do is basically, I can give a prompt and I can even say which model do I want to use. In this case, I'm using Llama 3, where I'm asking it, explain observability for AI and APIs to a 5-year-old. So let me just invoke the API. I was just testing it out just so that I know my demo works. But you can see here it gives me an explanation with what AI is, why observability, it even gives me a scenario with respect to robots and APIs, all of those sorts. This is Llama 3 model that I'm using. The same API, I'm going to use Mistral. Let's see what it says. It gives me another set of responses and a shorter one in this one. Now that this Git repository is already using New Relic and instrumented, it needs your credentials for deploying them and ensuring the metrics is being sent into New Relic. So all of that is part of the instructions. Now that I have all of it set up, what I can do is go into my New Relic account. Here, this is an entity for your Lambda functions. And with Lambda functions, we have something called with summary, all of that, the regular Lambda function features that's available. But the focus for today is AI monitoring. So we have something called as AI responses. Once I go in here, I do see a couple of invocations that's happened. So it gives me the number of responses that's been invoked, the response time, the average response time, all of these invocations did take, and the token usage, of course, average of all of them. In case if there were any errors, I would also have error indications, but now there are no errors, but on a happy day scenario where the two prompts that I used, one being for Mistral and one for Llama 3, I can take a look at how does this invocation look like. So if you remember, for the four levels of observability that I spoke about, there was the component layer, there was traces, there was agent-to-agentic based traces, understanding the responses, and also different metrics. For some reason, internet is acting glitchy. But okay, you can see the different traces that is available, the duration this specific response took, and also the token used for this. I do have a screenshot where you can see the duration and the token usage in terms of for each invocation to have a better understanding. But I think for a glitchy internet, something's broken, but you should be able to see the information such as token usage and your duration breakdown as well for each of the hops and invocation. So you see two of them here because in this example, I'm talking about Lambda function invoking Bedrock, which is basically a Lambda function invocation, then comes a Bedrock invocation and the model invocation itself. So if you have, say, 3 steps, 3 different agents, or hops between systems, all of these trace information is available, so you can understand how each of the hop is performing with respect to the duration that it takes, and of course, if there's any error, where did it error up? In this iteration, I can see the response. Along with it, the prompt that I use, we do have something called as metadata, which gives you, again, the completion tokens that has been done, and along with it, the model that we have been using, all of the information as metadata. If you need any custom instrumentation, you could also do it, and that will appear here. So that's it. In terms of understanding holistically how your applications are working, we also have something called AI responses. And when you're using multiple models, technically for different use case, we use different set of models, different specific models, different versions of models, and you want to understand holistically how is it performing. So we have something called as model inventory that's available holistically, that gives you information across multiple such models. In this iteration, in the last 30 minutes, I was trying out for, so let me try 24 hours. I did use Mistral, Llama 3 in the last 24 hours, even GPT models. So you can see across all of these models, how is the token usage, the response time, the complete information about each of these invocations. And again, when you go into them, the similar experience of getting the traces and its metadata for each of those invocations. And when you have information about the duration and the duration breakdown, you get a graphical representation of it, so you can understand which specific hop is consuming a lot of time or adding into your latency for your invocation and response. That said, that is something that's available out of the box with New Relic and the instrumentation that's there. But if you want to do something more extensive and build out dashboards that's more relevant to your organization or to your teams, the data is available on New Relic. So you could use something called as New Relic Query Language, or NERQL as we call it, set up queries and build out dashboards like these, where you could build customized dashboards more for your organization and the needs that it needs. Here I just added one where it is about the usage, the cost, and a breakdown across all of the models that I've been using, and you can see how the usage has been there. You can not just limit to a simpler graph, but we've seen enterprises and a lot of teams having a very comprehensive data-rich dashboards where you work with things in terms of having a very detailed cost analysis, and you can even define the cost for each of the tokens that's used across different models, and based on them you could have a complete cost analysis of your AI model usage. So this is more helpful for folks with FinOps background, of architects or leadership who are more concerned about, hey, we are spending a lot on our AI models, but even with experimentation, and this is a good place to look at it. Which are those models that is cost heavy on the wallets? A complete breakdown of the AI requests based on different kinds of applications that's been using. So you can see LangFuse, Bedrock, all of them is available while I was trying out with different kinds of AI model providers, not just limited to Bedrock, but if you are somebody, I was having a chat with somebody and they mentioned they're heavy on Azure. So if you're somebody heavy on Azure, AI Foundry models is also something that you can monitor. A similar experience, just that the model provider is different, and we bring in the similar kind of experience with respect to the different insights with respect to your logs, metrics, traces, and AI specific tokens and request latencies. So in case if you are interested more about learning AI monitoring, you can use the QR code where you can learn more about AI monitoring with New Relic. And in this example, I was talking about Lambda functions, and with Lambda functions, there's something called response streaming. So we do have response streaming AI monitoring enabled with New Relic, so you can use the QR code to learn more about that. This will help you understand what the Git repository is doing in depth while you try it out at your own pace. Well, not just that, we have something exciting happening at the booth. We are one of the sponsors, and we have a raffle at the end of the day, so you can use the QR code and be part of the raffle. There's Apple AirPods as a giveaway at the end of the day. I can take any questions if there's any while we wait for folks to scan the QR code. Uh, we do support open telemetry, which is open source. So say, for example, if your applications are already using open telemetry, it's just having the exporter being configured with New Relic OTLP endpoint, and that should be good.
So that is basically in the enterprise, we need to pay and we pay it and use it. On the personal front, if you want to explore, right? So is there a way we can access it, either using any other alternative credentials other than we just pay it?
Uh, Bedrock, certain models are also part of the free tier, if I'm not wrong.
I
So you
see.
could try it out. If not, we did have a workshop yesterday evening where we used GitHub models. So you can use the QR code and try it out yourself as well. All of this is part of the free tier, where you're using GitHub models with your own personal access tokens, along with it a free tier of New Relic account. You can try it out yourself until Friday evening. So this should be available until
Great.
tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you very much.